Hello, everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome to Average Joe Sports for the week of January 20th. It's my first one of the new year, and hopefully we can start it out right. We're just going to talk about today about things that have happened since the last time I vlogged. Dogs lost in their bowl game, which is okay. It happens. But mainly, my one of my big graphs I'm going to start grabbing about here is the Seattle Mariners trading Michael Pineda to the New York Yankees for one of their higher prospects in Mr. Jesus Montero. He's a catcher. Apparently, he's supposed to add a whole lot of pop in the bat. I actually think that this is a bad trade for a lot of reasons. One, Michael Pineda, in my opinion, is going to be a stud later on in his career. One of my buddies told me, yeah, but he flamed out in the second half of his season, which same thing happened to Felix Hernandez early in his career. He's got the makings of being an ace, and it would have been a great 1-2 punch with Felix and Pineda together. I think it would have been a great combination. We wasted that one of our top prospects for a catcher who's going to hit great for now, but eventually his knees are going to go out and he's not going to hit as well. I mean, I want pop in the lineup too, but I still want dynamite pitching. So I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot and jumped the shark on this one. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of it. Quite frankly, it makes me angry to the point where I would go out on a limb and say if this winds up blowing up in our face, I may or may not go to Mariners games. But that's completely and totally a lie because, one, I'll never say no to anything for free, and I will never say no to $14 tickets and beer. I just won't. Sports, beer, hot dogs, love them. It's a great combination. So, but I just think it's a really, really bad idea. He's gonna, Pineda's gonna win like 3 Cy Youngs, win a couple World Series rings, and we're gonna be stuck here in our mediocrity, going, God, we really shouldn't have made that trade. Now, granted, I'm saying this in the hopes that I'm proven wrong. Hopefully, the Mariners organization knows what they're doing, but I highly doubt it. Because, I mean, I can't go through the entire list of, former Mariners who have left and have gone on to have even better careers. I mean, I've always been one to say that at times the Seattle Mariners have been considered, in my opinion, the minor league team of Major League Baseball. So hopefully they did get this right, but 99 times out of 100, I'm certain that we didn't, that the Mariners didn't. Now, granted, we do have a lot of pitching in our stables, but I think that even though we have all that pitching, in the back end, aces are very, very hard to come by. And really, from a team perspective, you probably only get one, every 15, 20 years. We would have been lucky enough, in my opinion, to have two. And that would have been a great 1-2 punch. We probably could have been, the Philadelphia Phillies of the West, so to speak. They got all that great pitching, but they also got good enough hitting to complement them, and they can score runs. So, again, I hope Seattle Mariners organization, I hope you know what you're doing. I'm a stand behind you, but that doesn't mean I like it. Speaking of things that I don't like, the Oakland Raiders fired Hugh Jackson at the end of the season after going 8-8 and basically finishing one game out of the playoffs. Denver wound up winning the division based on, I want to say, them beating us or something like that. Some weird thing when you're tied, you go through the list of things, and we lost on one of those things. So there is some semblance of consistency, and this is sort of an Al Davis kind of move because he fired Tom Cable last year after going 8-8, and that season we swept the AFC West. The only reason why we didn't win the title is because Kansas City had a better overall record, but we beat them twice. So, yeah, granted, 8-8 doesn't get it done. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not the biggest fan of 8-8, but we didn't get any worse than we were last year. We stayed neutral, which I also hate. So, I mean, you should either be going forward or going backwards, in my opinion. But, you're not giving a team a chance by constantly firing coaches. And I'm going to be honest with you. Big name coaches do not want to coach in Oakland. We have a history of having big name coaches getting fired. Mike Shanahan, he went to Denver, won 2 titles out there. Sparky, he got fired the year before that, the year after the Tuck Rule game, which is the 10-year anniversary of, and still a fumble in my book. I don't care what anyone says. James, be quiet. And it's a running gag that we have between us. We argue about random sports, and he gets fired up about things, and I get fired up about things, and he likes to randomly say, Tom Brady fumbled the ball. Tom Brady didn't fumble the ball, and it irritates me and things like that. But it's our own little joke. Sorry, but as I was saying though, I understand that 8-8 doesn't get done, but at the same time, you're not putting the team in a position to go forward. This will be one of many coaching changes, but coaches, big name coaches generally tend to stay away from the Oakland Raider organization. Why? Because it's not a secure position to have. I understand that we have a new GM, and Hugh Jackson's not his guy. And so he made a decision and said, you know what? We're going to go in a completely different direction, and we're going to find somebody else who is just as good, if not better. But at the same time, I think that, Coach Jackson deserved to have at least one more coach season to kind of prove his worth to the new GM, which again also shocked me that we had a GM in the Oakland Raider organization, because I never knew that we had a GM ever. It must be a new thing now that Mr. Davis has passed away. May he rest in peace. And it's something that they're going in a completely new direction. But we'll see what coach decides to man up and says, I have brass balls to go out there and coach this organization and coach them to a winning program. But I don't know. I just feel that it's definitely still a step backwards, and until we get out to the point where we can, be a productive organization, we're going to be stuck at neutral, and I feel that next season is going to be more of that. I mean, we should have made the playoffs this year. I'm not going to lie. I would say we probably lost 3 games that we should have won. Denver was one of them. We should not have lost Tim Tebow in that second game. But hey, that's the way the game is played. Everything looks good on paper, but you still have to play the games, plain and simple. That's kind of the end of my griping section. But yeah, don't like any of the moves that any of my teams have made in the past few weeks. So, but to kind of bring it down to more of a more serious side, I'm sure most of you guys have seen it in the news, but freestyle skier Sarah Burke died recently from injuries that she sustained in the super pipe. I kind of briefly skimmed over the article. I didn't get a chance to read it. I don't remember if it was in a competition or if it was in practice, but it kind of brings to heart the tragedy of extreme sports. These athletes, and they are athletes by every stretch of the imagination. Granted, they're not hitting somebody on the other side of what they're doing, but they're putting their bodies out there, throwing themselves in the air, defying gravity and parts of simple physics, doing 360s, 720s, 1080s, and all that and all that stuff for our entertainment. And believe me, I have watched the X Games since the first one back in the mid-90s, and I am amazed and impressed at what these people can do on snowboards, on skateboards, on skis, and things like that. But with extreme sports comes extreme risks, hence the name extreme sports. And it's a sad situation, to see an athlete in the prime of their life and in the prime of their career, pass away doing the sport that they love. I mean, it's it to me it brings the whole thing of mortality more closer to home, because she was very, very young. She's a popular Canadian freestyle skier. She was getting ready for the Olympics as well. So I mean, she was doing everything she can, and she and she sustained her injury doing a very, very simple move. Well, simple if you can do it. I can't do it. I can't ski. I'm black. What do you want me to do? But she was doing a 540 flat spin, which is something I've seen, watching the X Games and watching world skiing world freestyle super pipe skiing competitions. I don't remember what they're under anymore, but that's besides the point. But she did a trick. She landed wrong, and she landed on her head. She wears the safety equipment that's supposed to be worn, which is a helmet. I mean, that's really all you can do when you're doing super pipe, snowboarding and skiing and stuff. So all you really got is a helmet. Not much you can do. So it's a sad reality, but it is a reality at the same time. And condolences go out to to the Canadian ski team and to everybody in the winter sports community, because that hits everybody. It hits everybody hard. And I'm also going to include Dan Weldon. He died last year in an IndyCar accident as well. I mean, granted, that's not necessarily under the the list of extreme sports, but it is, because not everybody can race a car going 200 miles an hour and and keep it under control. And again, it's something that was again, both these things are completely freak occurrences. And I mean, I know in skiing there's not a whole lot that can be done because again, you got a helmet, but I think in IndyCar as well as Formula One as well, because they both have open cockpits, it's time to put a lid on the cockpits. And I speak from experience on that because I also watch hydroplane racing, and through my dad, I've been able to keep up with the history, and a lot of deaths that happened in hydroplane racing weren't necessarily done because well, they were done because of the crashes, but they could have been prevented had they had closed in the cockpits on the hydroplanes themselves, which they did, and the deaths have actually gone down. Now, granted, again, these guys are professionals, and they have the reflexes of Jedi Knights, so to speak, and again, these things don't happen every day. But I think for the betterment of auto racing in general, because I mean, they've done so much already. They've got the safer barriers out now. They've got the I don't remember the name. Oh, the Hans device. The Hans device that keeps the neck in place, so that way they don't sustain extreme head injuries. And the helmets are completely and totally out of this world. But the one thing that needs to happen is it's time to close the cockpits. I mean, I wouldn't say take out the speed, because that's what we love as racing fans. But yeah, it's time to close the cockpits. It's what's going to be safe for everybody. Yeah, I know that's probably going to add more downforce to the racing machine, but hey, you guys are always trying to figure out how to create less drag. Well, there you go. You make it like a silver bullet, and you're going to go a whole lot faster. But I think that in combination with the Hans device and the safer barrier and the fiberglass hulls that you guys use, I think that's going to going to help. So again, I didn't get a chance to talk about that. Because I was busy and I was talking about college football, so it didn't necessarily slip my mind, but I wanted to make sure I put that out there as a racing fan. And my condolences go out to Dan Weldon's family and everybody in auto racing as well, because again, that's a sad situation. I didn't see that race on TV. I did see the Dale Earnhardt crash though, and I watch NASCAR too. I love it. And his crash didn't seem like it was a very big deal, and he wound up passing away, and that hit me closer to home because I was a Dale Sr. fan. I mean, granted, I'm a Jeff Gordon guy all the way, but growing up before Jeff Gordon, I watched Dale Sr. just like everybody else. I mean, anybody who even if they didn't watch NASCAR, they knew who Dale Earnhardt Sr. was. That would be the first name you come up with. So I mean, that's that's something that hit me close to home. But I mean, these sports, also boxing, that happens and stuff. But this is the realization of extreme sports. It's an extreme risk out there, and and it's something that the youth the youth that follow it and the youth that participate in it, that's the thing you got to look out for. That's why they wear all the safety devices out there. That's why they wear the helmets, the elbow pads, the knee pads, the wrist guards. I know they seem really, really lame, but they could potentially save your life. But so, I mean, I know I'm totally ending this vlog on a complete downer, but yeah, it was something that kind of stuck in my mind, and I just kind of wanted to put it out there. So yeah, that's it for me, and I will vlog a little bit more about some college basketball and a little bit more hockey here later on when I have more time. So yep, Happy New Year to all of you guys, and peace out.